What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Technician Podcast. Today, I've got my girl Sammy Cole on, and she's not just a fitness coach, she's a force of nature. This woman has run over 100 marathons, broken a world record, raised a family, and continues to do so. She's built a women's-only fitness empire in regional Queensland and Sarina, and still shows up with heart, hustle, and humility as she has all weekend. She's the founder of She Fitness, if you haven't heard of it. It's a sanctuary for women ready to transform more than just their bodies. She literally goes into the mind, the soul, everything, and we don't get enough of that. She's competed in bodybuilding comps, CrossFit comps. She smashed 50-kilometer ultra runs like they were fucking Sunday strolls. And she's redefined what it means to lead from the front mentally, physically, and emotionally. But behind the grit, behind the world records and the dumbbells, she's a woman with a story and a heart, a mother, a mentor, a rebel with a fucking purpose. And today, we're not just talking fitness, we're diving into the fire, the sacrifice, the truth behind what it really takes to build strength from the inside out and to show up to a retreat like she has all weekend. So welcome, Sammy.
Fuck yeah.
Let's go.
Hey, you did your research. That's hectic. Okay, I'm taking my jacket off for this one.
Cool.
I'm
Get
getting
those
the
guns out.
Yeah. And my shirt that says, mate, I fucking pet cats, lift heavy shit, and I know stuff. I feel like, yeah.
Oh, did
Awesome.
you have cat mum in the intro?
She's cat mum also, guys. Cat mum. So, dude, how are you feeling after this weekend?
How do I feel? I feel that, I've fully stepped into, so I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate to this. You know who you are, but there would have been a point where you weren't who you are. So when you were depressed and you were in bed and you had your broken leg and your girlfriend had left you and all this type of shit. But even previous to that happening, you would have known who you were and ignored it. Continuously ignored it, pushed it down, whatever. Lots of people do it through addiction, or they know who they are from the minute that they're born, but then they second guess themselves based on their parents, based on influence, based on billboards, based on workplaces, based on what like society makes you think that you need to be. But deep down in your fucking heart, you know. And the best thing about it is the universe knows, the source knows, and then it just keeps pushing you and pushing you and pushing you until your leg's broken, your girlfriend's left you, you're severe depression, and you feel like in that moment you're fucking dying. But you're source and the reason that Trav is here and everything about you is the universe just like pushing you that way in such a dark time. So for me, this retreat has been a gain. I feel like I've stepped into who I am, each time. Every self-help book that I've read, every retreat that I've been to, it's just a little bit more. And then coming to this retreat, it almost feels like that last piece. And one of the greatest things that you said right at the start of this retreat was, when you knew who you were, life got easy. Like when you stepped into that space, life got easy. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it's like, you know, then in those moments of deep despair, the option to kill yourself isn't there anymore. It's just a knowing that you need to get through it to move to the next level.
I love that. And knowing that Source has told you who you are and you know your purpose, what is that?
So for me, I'm a very out there person. It's very hard to kind of say, hey, this is exactly what I'm supposed to do. So for this moment right now, I'm extremely passionate about fitness. But I wouldn't say that I enjoy coaching. So I wouldn't enjoy coaching you. But I am so passionate about the mindset that you need to be fit and healthy. And that is my purpose fucking through and through. Like, I just have no words on how much that lights me up, on the way that you need to think to get to where you need to go physically.
Which is really interesting. What sparked that? It was as soon as you were born, pretty much, you're like, fitness is life.
No.
Like, what actually got you into that point?
When I was a little kid, I was diagnosed with ADHD in the 80s, which was like unheard of. So my parents were like your parents. They were like nothing, like they were baby boomers, and that thought that something was potentially fucking wrong with their kid was like ridiculous. So then I was trialed on Ritalin, like back in the days when it was so early. And it made me like a zombie, and my parents were like, the fuck is this? Like, I'm so grateful for my parents. There's a lot of things they fuck up. There's a lot of things I'm going to fuck up with my own kids. But I'm so grateful that they never continued with the medication. I am happy for parents to do whatever they want. This is my own story. I'm so glad they never did that, because then me being somebody and I feel like my physique reflects who I am as a person, I was willing to put in that work to learn how to use a brain that was alternate to the average person's. But I did my addiction for continuously pushing my purpose to the side, feeling like there's something wrong with me, which you would have felt. When you're such a passionate and excited person and people are like, calm the fuck down, buy a house, get married to someone that you have a fucking average relationship with and get a white picket fence and a dog and go to a job that you sort of like and hate and save for holidays, that's normal. So when you're not in that box, and I'm not in that box, and you're pushing down who you truly are, mine actually manifested in an eating disorder. I know. So I spent a month in rehab with a severe eating disorder at the age of 28. And I finally left my husband, who, like I said to you, like he was a good man. But I had put myself in this box of a person who lived just like that. Just like how I described it, I felt like that's how my life had needed to go. But it sure as fuck was not me. And that eating disorder just got worse and worse. So addiction is somebody crying. For like, it's the symptom. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I've heard Dr. Gabor Mate say it. It's not why the addiction, why the pain.
Yeah. That was the source of it. That was just, the addiction was this binge eating and this real fuck relationship around exercise and food and trying to find, it's like, that was me, that is me, and exercise is me, and that passion for it is me, but the way that I was like trying to have the relationship with it was just so unhealthy.
Something my mate Ryan Rose Evans said at dinner last week really hit me. He said he recently just cut carbs completely. Now it's got nothing to do with like some fad fucking diet or anything. It actually had something to do with much deeper, and this hit me hard. He goes, I realized that I was only eating carbs and sweet treats because I was craving the sweetness of my mother.
Yeah,
so
it's all connected.
It literally was like, it was such a deeper meaning. And he realized that because he's here from the UK, hasn't been home for years. And he's like, man, I've dealt with that wound in my gut, in my heart, my mind.
Yep.
Now I don't crave it anymore. And he's just eating straight up meat and stuff. He feels incredible, right?
No.
He's leaner than he's ever been because he healed that relationship with a deeper meaning.
Yep.
Rather than just wanting to look good.
Well, in our gym, I'm that certain of what I fucking do. I'm that certain. But all the women that have issues with food, let me tell you, they're binge eating on foods that are heavy, that that soften that emotion in their stomach and in their throat. No one's binge eating on fucking broccoli. It's like these heavy foods that they go after. Then they say to us, like, oh, I bought a meal plan. I don't have any self-discipline, but there's a pain, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're just trying to like push that, like, and who they are. They're like pushing it down with food, and it's accepted. Food is accepted. I can just walk in, I can buy 6 boxes of chocolates and you're not going to question it. So it's an accepted form of self-soothing.
Yeah, and how do you usually shift that when someone's consistently self-soothing, they keep fucking up their diet or whatever it might be that you've got them doing? How do you make them get on track?
All right, this is what we do in our gym. So this is how our gym's been developed. We trick them. Okay. So
Deception, I like it.
Everyone gets a gym membership. All the girls here would have some sort of a gym membership. So you bring them through the door, and they're there because they feel like they have to be. You know, a lot of women are there because their husbands tell them to go. That's another story altogether. But they go because they need to go. It's in fashion. Everyone needs to go to the gym. You trick them. But what we do is after every single class when they're stretching, is we start to really ask them, like, what are you here for? What's your purpose? And as I start to dive into my purpose and who I am, it gives them permission to do so. And then, you know, then there's a reason for you to get up and fucking train. And there's a reason for you to like get up early, and then you don't want to be sleeping your life away because you start to question, Jesus, what am I excited about? So we do a lot of triggering questions and a lot of group discussion because women love that. They love to chat. So while they're stretching and they're talking about like, what is it that brings you to life? Like no one, for a lot of women, you're not asked that. What was that thing when you were 5 that brought you to life? Because that sure as fuck has a massive like connection to how you're living now.
Is that what you asked Anna yesterday that sparked the conversation? I swear someone asked her, what is it that lit you up as a kid that you could talk for hours or something like that?
Oh, that probably was me.
Yeah, and
that sounds like a question I would ask.
Yeah, and then she went into talking about exactly what lights her up. And now today, look at the woman we're looking at.
I know.
She's woken up looking different because you asked a question that most people wouldn't fucking ask. So what made you start asking these intuitive questions to women? Because most personal trainers, if we call you a trainer, right?
Yeah.
Won't ask those deeper questions. What the fuck makes you ask the actual questions that lead to the actual transformations?
What was you saying again? Your biggest wound is your biggest weapon?
Yeah, it's like your greatest wound is your greatest work. So whatever
Okay.
really hurt you.
I changed it.
Yeah, whatever. Well, I like that though.
Yeah.
But it's essentially like, yeah, like I do what I do because I don't want people to experience what I have in the past.
Same.
Anxiety, depression, wanting to kill myself, hating my
Yeah.
life, all the things, not having purpose.
Yeah.
So it's like now I love that I can take people away from that shit.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming, yes, that must be the same thing for you.
When I was really young, so it would have been like 5 or 6, and just being shut down all the time, and so many people have experienced that feeling, like just to, like imagine my personality, it's intense. So a lot of people just like shut the fuck up, like calm the fuck down. And that pain, I remember being really little, I was so small, and I thought to myself, if I knew who I was, like if I knew, then everything that all you people would say would be like water off a duck's back, because like it even makes me emotional. The pain when you're so little and you can't you don't know how to work through it. It makes me so emotional. You want something bigger than you, and that's what's kept me going. That's what's kept me chasing, is I just could not settle on the fact that this was it. That I was just meant to be sitting here and shut down and with this sick feeling in my stomach that I could only push down with food, that sure as fuck could not be it. And there was something, I've always had a connection either with God or with Source, even before I truly found that connection. I just knew there was something bigger. There was no, I've said this 10 times, there's no reason why you're built the way you are, as big as you are, and with this like ability to, or this drive even to want to step into your masculine and your feminine, like there was something in you that just like lit that up for you, and you followed it, and that's the version that the world needs. There's not a chance that I was built with this much muscle. Like right from when I was a little girl, I was built like a fucking unit. There's not a reason why I was so driven towards sports or anything like that. And the more that I kind of go into it and into it and into it, the more that shit just unfolds and lays out in front of me. And I was so desperate to become the strongest woman. Those are the little words that I'd say to myself. I want to be the strongest woman that I know. And it showed up physically, but mentally is where I truly wanted to sit.
I love this, and I'd love you to do something for us and the listener. So if you can close your eyes, and anyone listening, please close your eyes. Unless you're driving, please don't close your eyes. But I'd love you to, because there's going to be so many women that are fucking lit up by this conversation, right? I can tell the women around us listening right now are. But I'd love you to go back to that little girl who decided in that moment that, yeah, she's not going to shut the fuck up. She's not going to be quiet. And I want you to share that with the woman listening, how she can take action on the thing that really lights her up.
Right. Can I open my eyes?
Up to you.
After this weekend and seeing that little girl that I had that dark pain, and for every woman and every single one of you that's listening, that everything that you've ever been attracted to, every color, every song that you've loved, everything that's ever brought you to life, that you would just sit down and do it and time would pass, which whatever that is for you, or there'll be really distinct moments in your life that you'll think back to, something that you remembered. Like I remember seeing for the first time a red silk dress with black lace on it. And you have to ask yourself, why in the fuck, out of the 10,000 things that happened that year, that was the one thing that stuck to you? And you have to start to question those things, because every single one of them is who you are supposed to be. And you can ignore it as long as you want, but it's going to show up through your diet. It's going to show up through bad relationships, like wanting somebody else to validate how great you are. And it's not until you start to accept that all of those things is who you are, all of those odd things. Like remember how what was a time in your childhood that really made you feel safe? And it was my mum reading a book to me about acrobatics.
Yeah.
And I remembered what that cartoon acrobat was wearing. And that's not by chance. None of that shit is by chance. So to think, oh, I just liked a book when I was a kid. Well, why in the fuck didn't that book stand out to someone else? And why did that acrobat stand out to me? And you can ignore those things as much as you fucking want. But you will just, the universe will just continue to push you into depression. We think depression and anxiety is I have depression and I have anxiety. But that's not it. That's your soul saying, fucking something's not right.
I remember Jim Carrey saying it's like your avatar's done being something it's not.
Yeah.
It's literally, it's time to take this fucking mask off and reveal to the universe, to the world, to ourselves, and look in the mirror and be like, who are we actually? And something you said there was really powerful, and something that came up for me was around the whole like piece of actually shifting your physical health and what makes it click and do the things. It's the deeper work, it's the deeper questions, it's the mindset stuff you do along with the accountability and everything. I'd love to know though, from a man's perspective, right? Something that shifted for me. Now, 2 years ago, business was just starting. I was really stuck in, I need to get the business going. My health deteriorated massively. And I was at a retreat, actually at the retreats I was running with Heart-Led Warriors. My best mate, shout out to Sammy Cole, literally said to me, he's like, fuck bro, you've gotten fat. And that just, I was like, thank you. I genuinely said thank you because I changed shit from there. Yeah. Now, I know it's different with women, right? You can't just say that. But what are some of the direct things you can say to someone who might really, she's not where she wants to be, but how have you spoken to them in the past to really be like, that's that click moment of, oh my God, someone just told me the actual truth that I needed to hear in a, not necessarily like fake way or kind way, but something that really cut through the bullshit. Yeah. And she heard it and was like, oh my God, I do need to change.
Well, you know what? You have to be very gentle on this subject, okay? Because people are really praising all sorts of body types, and I love that. I love that. So there are actually a lot of things that I can't say to women, but I'm actually going to say it now. If there's an excess amount of weight on someone, it's screaming for you to fucking pay attention. So rather than loving it, like great, love it, love who you are and everything like that. And I wish that I could say this to women directly. When I see that's a lot of trauma. That's taken a lot of food to get there, and a lot of pushing down a lot of fucking emotions to get there. So to ever stand there, when a female stands there and then says to me that she's tried everything, I just think, fuck off, you haven't tried everything. You haven't tried everything. You're lying to me and you're lying to yourself. These are more things that I wish that I could say, but a lot of people aren't ready to hear it. And maybe they need to hear it via this way to really take it in, because then there is that separation. They don't feel,
It can be self-empowered in a way. So if they want to take it that way, awesome. Because I agree, like I've always been about the whole mindset of like, what can your body do for you? Not how does it look, but I feel happier about myself when I look better too. So it's like, and for me, there's another piece that comes up for me personally, and I'll just speak in my own story. My friend who's coming to talk to you guys during our 6 week, Nerida Bint, shout out. She said to me about a year ago, I told her about an opportunity that I let go.
Oh, yes.
And she said, how fucking dare you? Yeah. So now I look at myself, and Michael Jordan went through this too. Tim Grover come up to him after the championships, they just lost. And he said, hey Mike, like I'll see you after the off season, like in 4 months time. And Mike was like, no, I'll see you tomorrow. Because he said, I had an obligation to show up in his best form for these people that are spending 3 hours and hundreds of dollars to come watch him play. How dare he not be in the best shape of his life if they're doing that? So I want anyone listening, how dare you not be in the best shape you can be health-wise, which comes with looking good too, for your family, for yourself, for your business, for everyone around you, including you. But some people take it, it's like maybe sometimes it's an external factor to make you do the thing. What about if your little boy is looking up to you? And I'll speak to men right now. What if your little boy's looking at you and he's defining how I'm going to look based off what dad looks like? If my dad's a big, strong man that can physically take care of his family, if someone tries to attack his wife and he can destroy that man, that person, that attacker, or whoever tries to attack them, That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Have the capability of violence and not need to use it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be walking around with a weak man. I don't want to be walking around a weak person that can't defend themselves and the people they love. So it's like,
This is where you need to link it to what you value the most.
that's why I train. I literally train
Yeah.
so I can protect her.
Yep.
Like, I literally train so I can fuck someone up. Because I know this world's dangerous. And I don't want to have to do it, but I know that she feels safe around me.
Oh, I agree. There's an aspect to me too that thinks, because I do run a gym and I'm so passionate about the mental side to it, but I sure as fuck wouldn't come to my gym unless I look like this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to be able to trust who you're going to.
Yeah.
But it's like then I trick them. I know.
I'm not how I look.
But I do want to add one more thing to that I feel like women need to hear. There are so many women, I'm going to almost say 80%, who struggle so hard with their food and their eating because there is a toxic relationship in their life, almost their direct partner.
Yep.
Like most likely their direct partner. And this is why you can't say that to them. They're not ready to hear it because they're just not. But you can see it.
Yep.
When I hear words like when they say, my husband says I should go train, I just think, that's not your husband's job. His job should just be to be like, you're amazing, you're beautiful, anything that supports you where she wants to do that for herself. And there are always these dead giveaway words that they say to me, but they're not ready to hear. Is this the space you should be sitting in? That's a big ask for someone to walk out of something like that.
I love this. Now, I've got this piece in my podcast called Topics with the Tech.
Okay,
it's
go.
just fast fire questions.
Ooh, go.
So
I
that
love
the
it.
listener can get a lot of value specifically based off what you've been through. So, Sammy, do you ever feel pressure to stay physically strong while emotionally crumbling inside? And if so, how do you lead women when you're fighting your own battles?
Okay, I don't ever feel pressured. I feel like that doing the training is the one anchoring mentally smartest thing that I can possibly do in a hard time. And I have trained myself extremely well on that. So if anything, my training actually becomes more emphasized in the darker times because I know that that is going to be one of the greatest things I do to get me through it.
I love this. You've run over 100 marathons, but what was the moment you wanted to quit and didn't?
Well, there was a stage when I did quit and I feel a lot of regret about it. I tried to break the Guinness World Record for the most consecutive days of running marathons, and the record was 150 and I only got to 78.
Only.
Yeah, I carry a lot of regret because I was in a relationship at the time and he was somebody who didn't quite like the spotlight that this was bringing. And I actually feel like that I pulled out of it to maintain the relationship. And I don't feel regret. I would never say I feel regret because everything always lines up the way that it is. But I sure as fuck will never let that happen again.
Beautiful. Yeah, let's go. I love that. So you've created a women's only fitness space. What wound or moment in your own journey made you decide, I need to build this for women?
Well, it wasn't a wound. I have a very strong connection that just keeps strengthening to God and to Source. And I actually had a vision or whatever you want to call it. And one day I grabbed this bit of cardboard and like scribbled down all these ideas like women and seasons and like working with them on the mental side. And every time when they're stretching, I'm going to get these words into them like, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Like, how am I going to manipulate? I wrote it all down on this piece of cardboard. And then on the opening night of the gym, I brought this little piece of fucked up cardboard with my scribble all over it because this is one of those times where I paid attention. Like I fucking paid attention.
Ooh, how much more attention can you pay in your day-to-day life to find the thing that lights you up?
Ooh.
Damn.
For myself is really just paying attention for me is in silence. There you go. I love people. I love being around people. I love all this. And then I find I have the biggest breakthroughs in that silence. Like yesterday when I was just sitting in the sauna by myself and I was sitting in the cold plunge by myself, that silence is just next level.
I have to agree. My biggest ideas come when I'm in the shower. Yeah. Like it literally is
On
like,
your own.
you have to be, like I would give especially my male clients, I'll say, dude, I want you to look at a fucking white wall for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Stop scrolling, stop doing all these things, stop keeping busy and
Yeah.
actually sit with yourself. Because I watched my dad his whole life. He's always doing something.
Yeah.
He can never just sit there. He's always watching a movie or outside mowing or fixing the car or working. And it's because he's avoiding himself every time. There's discipline and then there's obsession.
Yeah.
Have you ever crossed the line into the unhealthy side of fitness and how did you bring yourself back?
No, I'm definitely there.
I'm in its trance.
Yeah, I know. You know, but I can sit here with such confidence and say I feel like it's my purpose. You know, I only started CrossFit just over 12 months ago.
Damn.
Yeah, and it's this real, I obviously have massive background though with cardio, and that's what's got me across the line, but this passion and this hyper focus for it. And as I feel like CrossFit comps are coming out that are specifically just for women now. And so as these women are reaching out for me to coach them and things like that, and it is that I am heart and soul in this sport. So I probably end that of what society would call obsessed line, but I have learned, obviously with breaking Guinness World Records and doing these types of things, that like society can fuck right off.
Yep.
Yeah, that this just sits well with me. It's just that they think it's impossible, and that's fine.
They don't like when someone's triggering them that they feel like they need to do more. Because like I know when I was doing my business and podcast and everything, there'd be mates that I've known for years that never celebrated me or supported me. Because I'm doing something that lights me up. They know they need to, and watching me do it triggered the fuck out of them. So, and again, like you said, whose level of obsession are you going to go by? Yours or theirs? Like, who cares what they say? What's one thing about the fitness industry you can't stand? What's a really strong opinion that you've got? Because I know you got plenty.
Come straight to me. You know what? Someone who fucking tries to sell something to me that does not look like Arnold Schwarzenegger can fuck right off. Like, I just think if you're going to sell me a protein or a health something, you'd want to fucking look the part. Like, I don't sell anything. I don't even like, I'm lucky. Sometimes I'll get a protein off the shelf at Coles. So I just think, does this shit even work? So you'd want to look the part. That's actually one of the things I'm most passionate about. And then if you do look the part, like, I just think that's stupid. Like, you know, it's so much hard work. There is no quick fix.
Yeah, no, I love that. Let's get real for a moment.
Okay. Well, before that, I was
Like
fake.
really like tap into something deep in this question. What does an empowered woman actually mean to you?
An empowered woman, what does she mean? Okay.
Because we hear that word all the time, right? Empowered women,
Yeah.
this and this. But what does it mean to you?
An empowered woman, to me, and for every single one of you, is somebody who steps into their space, steps into everything that they know that they are. They do not give a flying fuck. And you see it all the time. And I said last night I saw it in Madonna. Like, I know that that's a huge name and she cops a lot of slack. But at the end of the day, mate, she wore fucking cones as a bra. She got divorced, which was unheard of. She was ruthless. She stood alone like Cher without a male behind them. They copped that much ridicule. They were sexualized. They did all these things. But women who step out in their own power, to me, without even a male behind them, is the strongest fucking women I've ever seen in my life, because that just takes so much guts. And it's not until you're there and you're alone and you're experiencing that. And you know, like how I said to you, when women say to me, you need to learn how to be alone, I just think, you need to fuck right off. You know, because they're in a relationship, and then to say that, you don't know what it is to back yourself until you're backing yourself. And then not only that, those women back themselves in front of hundreds of thousands of people.
I love that. So you've achieved a world record.
Well, I need to clear that up. So because I don't want anyone thinking I'm better than I am, that I ran the 50 kilometers a day when the record was currently sitting at 11, and I got 15 days.
All right.
We uploaded it. 2 days later, somebody else got 22, because you don't know if people are running it at the same time. Yeah, I know. And since then, it's been broken again. So I think, like, technically.
Well, you set the foundation. Like, who was the first guy to run the mile less than 4 minutes or something like that? Like, so they set, and they make people go, oh, it's possible.
Yes.
So think about the fact that you made it possible for other people to know, oh, if she can do it,
Yes.
fuck, let's see how much further we can take it. So you laid the foundation for it. But
Thank
appreciate
you.
the realness. Yeah.
Thank you.
You've also built a business that's, you know, being successful. You're raising a family.
Yeah.
What's something you've had to sacrifice that most people wouldn't know about?
All right. Most people, well, I'm very, very open about this. But one of the biggest things that I've sacrificed is my relationships. So every time that I haven't valued a relationship over my purpose, so every time that I have felt that a relationship has started to hinder who I am, I have felt myself break free from them, whether it took like, you know, my first relationship took 10 years and the next one was 3 years and 3 years. Once I feel that feeling of suffocation, which often comes in with males, once a male feels like you're out flourishing them, they're like, not today. And that, I know, so a lot of sacrifices. Lots of people might look at me and say that she can't hold a relationship and things like that, and I'm okay to wear that. Because I'd rather not be able to hold a relationship than live in that space of just sadness.
I love that. And it's a really testament to what a lot of the little boys are going through right now, where there's men that are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. They can't take no. And they also have self-worth issues to the point where it's like there's women now making fucking bank and are successful, and then their own worthiness piece is questioned, and they can't. And I'm actually helping a client right now see that, like, his missus is one of the top in her class in the whole world at what she does, right? She's making bank. She's retired him. And he's having to overcome old belief systems his dad gave him, that you need to be the one providing. You need to, it's like, no, bro, you get to be a fucking present father and raise the next generation of good kids. That's an incredible, that's huge worth. Let her do her thing. She loves it. You support her as a grounded foundational man who's emotionally solid. You look after the family, you lead, while she fucking flows and does her thing.
But he has to get comfortable in his masculine.
Correct.
Just like how you were saying. He has to get confident in that for him to be able to be like this with his wife.
And he's done it.
Otherwise,
it only took us 2 weeks. Because I took him back to a moment that shifted everything in his shadows that he was holding on to. And look, my partner and I have been through this stuff. Like, I'm on a fucking mission. And we've had to have a couple of tough conversations. Like, if this is going to happen, just know that our love languages might not get met at some point. So hers is quality time. I can't really give that a lot of the time. But we've had the hard conversation about, hey, this might be like this for a little while. It's not always going to be like this, but how can we also meet in the middle? So we've created a thing called Sunday sessions. So it's like Sundays are probably my only day where someone's not expecting something from me. So let's go have some fish and chips or something. Let's go watch the movies. You know, so we've sort of met in the middle, and where can I do it and hold each other and still meet each other without going, just deal with this. I'm a businessman. I have to make sure I'm making time for that too.
Wait, I do have to add something because I have kids, so that's where I come in.
Of course, yeah.
A lot of people have had that judgment where they're like, what about the children? Like, you have gone from relationship to relationships. But I feel that one of the greatest things I've ever done to them is show them that I know that I didn't do it the best way, but at the end of the day, I still fought for myself.
I love that. And final question.
Go.
Actually, 2 more.
Okay.
When you see a woman walk into your gym who hates herself, how do you lead her to self-respect without preaching it?
What we do is we start with the gym, because the same mindset that you use to lift a dumbbell. So no matter what you think, you don't switch minds. You don't switch brains the minute that you walk into the gym and you leave. That mindset that you use to say start with 5 kilos and then a couple of weeks later push yourself to 7 and then push yourself to 10. When you start to break a threshold in the gym, that same threshold plays out in life. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So we go after them there to be like, you can do this, you can do this. Because that shit plays out here. So that's where we go after them.
And final question, you've absolutely killed this. I'd love to really know this, and I know there's going to be a lot of women and mums that hear this one and feel this. If your daughter or the next generation of girls were watching how you run your life, what lesson would you not want them to learn from you? Because I do have 2 daughters. So a lot of the healing that we have done over this weekend, one of my girls is 8. So around that really, influential time for us when we're around 8, and one of them is almost 18. So that teenage year. So she's a little bit lost at the moment. So I have both of those girls to work with through my own wounds. And one thing I wish for both of them is that I didn't do was I was so hard on myself. But it wasn't like, oh, Sammy, you're not doing a good job. It was this deep hate for myself. And I wasn't able to kind of be present in anything because I had such a deep hate. And I would love to heal myself to heal my girls, so that they don't hate themselves like what I did, because society makes us think that we can hate ourselves into success, and you can't. I want them to be successful. Beautiful. thank you for the topics with the tech. To close this out, having known we've been at this retreat and we've just done an epic podcast, which you've just interviewed so many people, this has gone for a couple plus hours. How was your experience at this retreat, at the Breakthrough Blueprint?
It was definitely like a rebirth, like if that's not the spiritual language that you're into, whatever, but that's how I felt.
Yeah.
I felt like I really stepped into my own space here and felt that. And there's something in it. My mind wasn't running at 1,000 miles. The anxiety wasn't there. The depression wasn't there because I was in who I am. And that's when it starts to really dissipate. And I feel like you need to pay attention. Like, what are those emotions? What are they calling for you to do? And while I was stepping into my power here, so even though there was times when I did want to sit and connect with the girls, I knew that I was doing my work. I was in line with my values. I was doing my training, and I had this sense of like fucking peace. So to really feel that, and then to really know what that feels like, then you know when you're not in that peace. So you got that contrast. So that was probably my biggest takeaway.
Beautiful. And how do you think this work's going to practically ripple effect through your business, your life, your finances, relationships? Because I know there's going to be women listening that are like, yeah, all sounds amazing, but how's this going to play out for me?
Oh, okay. So for me, I've been sitting in this real victim mode. And there's a lot of women who sit in that victim space. I'm going to call myself out so then women can recognize it within themselves. I love to do this. I can't do that. I can't do numbers. I can't do money. And I do it. And then I play the victim with any aspect. And I've had boyfriends and they have been mean to me. Not all the fuck shit I've done, just that they were bullies. So I've really sat in that really victim space. So to really step into, no, I can learn money. And now I can put systems into place. And to stop telling myself those stories like, I don't know how. Well, bitch, fucking learn. So really stepping into that space of, yeah, you can. Because there's people before us that have done it. You're not of course you can fucking do it. So yes, you can do it. I'm not sure how would you word that? But stepping up.
Stepping up, yeah. Knowing your threshold, there's been a barometer for what you think you can do. You break through that shit based on so the way that I've sort of visualized this, and this only happened before the retreat. The night before the retreat, I went on a podcast about a week ago on Tony, the Empowered Man. It was an incredible podcast.
Yeah.
Shout out to the brother Tony, because what I noticed with him, he's younger than me, but his business has done 12 million plus, right? Shit. He's a coach as well. In the last few years, he killed it. But what I noticed with him, he could really simply say what he does. I couldn't simply say what it is I do. So it's deep work. It is. But to practically help people understand it. So it was like, well, we bring the shadows and the limiting beliefs and unconscious blocks to the conscious mind. This is the prefrontal cortex, where I pick up my phone right now. I'm consciously doing that. I'm consciously talking to you, right?
Yes.
So we bring that shit to the conscious so you can see it. So you're not the pickle in the jar that can't see the label anymore. You're aware of the fact that you do this shit. You sabotage this way. You think you can't do this. So it's conscious. And then we challenge it. We're like, okay, I see it. I need to challenge that shit every time it pops up now in my day-to-day life. And then we choose to change it. And that's where that's the rewiring process. You don't change unless you see it. So it's like getting the deep sea fish out of the darkness up to the level where you can fish the cunt out and actually eat it and cook it, right? Yeah. And you get rid of it. So get all that stuff out. And what I created was the Mind Mountain. And in the Mind Mountain, you go in the caves, you go down deeper and you start seeing treasure. You're fighting these goblins and shit that are scary. Yeah. You go deeper and deeper, but you're getting better weapon armors and skills. And then we start coming up the other side of the mountain, but we go higher above the mountain because before you didn't have that same skills, weapons, armor, and all these other things. So we have to go to the depths first to find who we truly are and to become the strongest we can, to then climb the rest of the mountain. And that's what this type of work is. You go through the depths to get to the heights. You only become your empowered self and your higher self as long as you're willing to go to the fucking depths of who you actually are. And Carl Jung says it, no tree will grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. So you have to know your dark and your light.
Yeah.
And I guess that's in a long-winded way.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you guys have done this last 7
Calling out
weeks.
embarrassing. Yeah, I know. Calling out embarrassing behavior, like what we think is embarrassing, like really putting it out in front of you to say, hey, I like to play the victim. I like to do things for attention. And then catching what you actually do to do that is like, that's where my roots were. Even catching all that language that I have been using for so long. And then now having to cut it out and change it with new language will be what happens as I leave this retreat.
I love that. And I will say one thing at the end here is that, and for all the women listening as well in the retreat and on the podcast, please know that when you work with a coach or a business coach or someone and you're not doing the things, there's a depth to it as well, because you can become consciously aware of what you do, but your attachment to the block and because everything you have in your life right now, some part of you benefits from it. Otherwise it wouldn't exist. Now the part that benefits a lot of the time is attachment styles to your mother. Now the mother is the life force. We came into this world and we only lived because of mum and dad. Purely mum. Mum is the biggest one. And if that mother cord, that connection to mum, which is survival, is cut, we think we're going to die. So as a child, we're like, well, I can't disappoint this thing that gave me life. So if that doesn't change all through your life, you get to 30, 40, 50, 60, you could go your whole life. And deep down, you don't want to disappoint mum. You don't want to go against what she said is wrong and right and all this other shit. Nothing will ever change. So if that means that taking action to become successful goes against what mum said, you won't do the fucking thing. It's going to be really hard. But that's why you have to do it with fear. If you keep procrastinating, you keep doing other shit other than doing the thing, there's a thing deeper down going, if I do this thing, mum's going to hate me. You have to realize it doesn't fucking matter. You're not going to die. It might feel like you're going to die because this works deep.
Yeah,
it truly is. You're disconnecting the umbilical cord from mummy.
Yeah.
But you have to take the hard action. And that's what you've done over and over, Sammy. It's what I do over and over. People think it's going to get really easy and then they take the action. No, the fucking action becomes easier the more you do it consistently. I have been terrified to do podcasts when I first started. I redid it 20 times. I vomited the first go.
Did you?
Literally, it was like, I can't do this. Because it was going against what Dad believed was true.
Yeah.
It was going against my mother, who can barely drive up the Sunshine Coast because there's too much traffic. They were very anxious people, beautiful people. But in my system, I had to go against everything they told me I was and showed me I was. So that meant a death of the old version of me.
Yeah.
So it's not just taking action. It's not just doing the thing, which a lot of business coaches will say. You're actually literally severing survival cords to the people that brought you into this world sometimes. It doesn't always have to be that deep. But if it feels really hard to just take action, please don't shame yourself. Please know that sometimes it can be bigger than just doing the thing. And taking a photo on a selfie on Instagram, that selfie on Instagram could literally be tearing away so many belief cords. But if you do it over and over and over again, you will get stronger and be able to do it easier.
It's true.
I'm sure some of that landed for you.
We always remind myself that when girls come to me and they say, but I had this period when I was really thin and ate well and da-da-da. And I think, yeah, mate, but you fucking practiced that for 6 months. 26 years outside of that, you've been practicing shit. So it's like whatever you practice the most is who you are. And this all just comes down to practicing and practicing. But yeah, it does feel like for me it was a real father thing. So it did feel like you sever that cord with them.
Yeah, and it can be deep. It can be hard. And I think that's why the work I offer is so transformational, because I also understand that when people finish with me, they're going to go through more. You're going to go down and dip, right? You're going to, because we've uncovered new layers. Like I've been doing this shit for 8 years and I'm having moments come up with my mentor where I'm like, what? What do you mean? This is terrifying, but I still do it because I know what's on the other side. So for anyone listening, when you do this work, you go away from this retreat, you're going to have dips, but don't shame yourself. Don't go, oh, fuck, I've gone back to who I was. No. The spiral dynamics, you spiral up, you spiral down, spiral up, new level, same devil. It will keep coming back. But the thing is you know you can keep moving forward now. You'll never go backwards, but we perceive in our mind that it is going backwards. But the one thing I remember I heard on TikTok of all places, how do you sew a wound up? It's up and down. You have to go through the life and the human experience of up and down. But if you can keep doing that, that wound gets closed up, on to the next fucking wound, on to the next wound. And you have all these scars that tell stories and let us move through. So it's going to be something really beautiful. We've realized that now we've probably been doing this for about an hour, but I wanted to make sure this was really special for you because I genuinely wanted this to be an actual episode that I launch on my podcast and you get out.
Yeah, thank you so
We're in
much.
the energy of it, like everyone's watching and it's been such a powerful episode.
Well, I appreciate it. I look forward to being on your podcast. You know what? I look forward to saying to Megan, listen to that episode.
Yeah.
Bitch, I'm on it.
100. And if this was the last episode you were ever on, what would you want everyone to know?
That I genuinely, my whole life, have been fucking one of these people that gets so excited for things. And it is because I have never dropped the idea of following my purpose. And I actually think that that's in everyone. I don't fake it. Like you can feel how excited I am just to be fucking alive. Like when I knew that we were doing this podcast this morning, I set my alarm for 3 o'clock, but I woke up at 2:50 and I was like, yeah, fucking close enough. Push it. Like, I just think that excitement's in everyone.
Yeah.
We can say we have ADHD, but I actually think it's in everyone, and we've all been conditioned to think you're not supposed to be excited.
Oh, you're not... Yeah, wow.
I know, don't get too excited. You got bipolar.
Yeah.
I don't get too sad. You got depression.
The thing is, I think neurodivergence is the normal human experience. We've just been told it's not. Okay. Well, thank you, Sammy.
Yeah, thank
this
you.
has been amazing. If anyone wants to reach out to you, where can they find you?
On She Fitness, Facebook or Instagram, or can follow my own personal page where I hardly upload anything.
But she's going to be, because she's going to be the next Sammy Cole, not Tia Toomey.
Yes.
But she's going to be doing daily vlogs and everything.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And as we say, guys, well, as I say, I might be the technician, but I want you to be a technician. The only way we get to change our cultural landscape around rewiring the mind, body, and soul is if you share this sort of stories. Repost it, tag me and Sammy, tag yourself, send it to me, let me know what hit the most, let Sammy know what hit the most, because I can't do this by myself, and I don't want to do it by myself. I want this to be a cultural movement. I want us to be a bunch of technicians rewiring the whole place. And yeah, just let's do our thing. Remember to subscribe on YouTube if you're watching. And thank you, Sammy. Let's fucking go.
Oh, good.
Good.
Thank you.
Killed that. Thank you.
I like podcasts. How do you all feel with it all? With your interviews and...